Shalom, family. The word of the day for me is discernment. And I chose discernment because the enemy we're facing is very, very crafty, ancient enemy. So for us to feel like we got it all figured out, we shouldn't play ourselves. It says in the book of Job that the angels rejoice as the foundations of the earth were laid, which means that the angels were here as the Father created the creations upon the earth and the earth itself. um, I don't know how many of us seen the movie The Matrix, right? But if you have, Agent Smith, he was like the head agent against people who found out the how fake the reality around them was. Um, and the thing about Agent Smith is anybody who was not awakened to the truth, realizing the false reality around them, he was able to transform into them or take their form and use it. In the movie, of course, it would show his face, but he was taking over whoever it was that was wherever they were at the time, right? So for the people who are awakened, their biggest issue was not to trigger anything that seemed unnatural to the agents, because they would then use whatever person was closest to them to affect them. So speaking on discernment and how things really work today, I think we need to realize that for those who do not choose to do the will of our Father Yahuwah, they are able to be used by the enemy the same way Agent Smith could use any of the people around the ones who are awakened, right? So you start to notice things when you use discernment, like a random argument with somebody close to you, or random mood swings of people around you. Man, I done seen people just get irate with no cause, and it's like they can't even pinpoint it themselves. But when you use discernment, you no longer look at the person and hate the person and take your aggression out on the person. You start to realize that that person is being used, right? What I realized, not that I'm an expert on possessions or anything like that, but being a person who at one point had unclean spirits on me and it being shown to me by the Father, I realized that possession is not the way they make it look in The Exorcist, right? Remember, this is about discernment. So what I realized is, if you speak to a person, a kind word turns away wrath. That is so true. If you speak to the person in a way with a little empathy, right? If you're familiar with it, then sympathy, but you can still reach the person being used by the unclean spirit, right? And you can still reason with the person themselves. If not, some people you got to walk away from, but we got to understand that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, and we got to remember that the spirit exists first. And of course, we're the ones allowed to operate here lawfully, but for everybody who is not in covenant with the Most High, they're a fair game to the enemy. Just like some of us who leave gateways open, or, still struggle with certain things, there's still doorways for them to enter in through and try to antagonize you or get you to stray away. So let's remain watchful. Let's practice discernment. Don't ignore the fact that we do have an enemy in this world, and it is not your brothers and your sisters. It is the ancient enemy, the serpent, and all the other 1/3 of the angels that came down with him to the earth to defile humanity. So with that being said, like I say, remain watchful, and practice your discernment, pray, stay patient, and let's just do what we got to do and not let the enemy try to trip us up. And with that, I say shalom.